Hi everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Persona 4 Golden. And in the last part we basically said goodbye to everybody because we're leaving the next day, so we've got to say goodbye to everybody. And what we did at the very end of the last part was we walked up to Ginesse, because if you want to do the final
So you guys came here too.
if you want to do the final boss fight, then what you have to do is you have to fight against. What am I talking about here?
I thought you'd be here.
If you want to, sorry, if you want to take on the final dungeon, basically you have to go up to Ginesse and you basically have a little bit of a sit in the area where you've basically spent the most amount of time, I guess, during the game, discussing the case and all that kind of shit. The cases and all that kind of thing. Because of that, you end up having like a little, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Think back on all the good times you have with each other. They're reminisce. That's the best word. And so everybody, and then all the group, all of your friends end up coming over here and finding you here, and you decide to have one last meal, one last, hanging out together before you have to go back the next day. I think as a story idea, kind of building it up there, it kind of does give the idea of the game is like done at this point. That the story's finished, everything's back as it was, and this is just like one final little thing to say, for everybody to basically say the goodbyes and reminisce about things. And so it's a good way of like loading the. I guess if you're not following the guide and you just wanted to go through everything.
Maybe someone accidentally came across it?
Illusion the full sense of security that this is, really it. This is game over. That we're done.
The fog lifted after we caught Adachi, but there's still a lot of stuff that isn't clear yet.
Yeah, this conversation only happens.
Some weird guy might use it to
yeah, so the whole point here is that they're pretty much bringing up the point that
Didn't that Amino something monster say?
that
it granted us power?
even though Adachi has been put in prison, and he was the one who was supposedly behind all the deaths and all that kind of thing, the fact that there's still fog in the other world, and the fact that what happened with how the Midnight Channel was created, and also how the people heard of the Midnight Channel. Yeah, that's another good point. How do they get their abilities? How did I get my abilities? That's it's a very valid point, and it's a good way of introducing the idea of we still have some questions that remain unanswered, and so it gives you the idea that it's not over yet. You're the only exception. Yeah, we had the power to enter the TVs, the same goes for Adachi and Namatame, and it's like, what the hell happened? Yeah, so here we go. Here's the letter that we got this morning.
Hey, this
we got a letter. We don't know. It's listed as Adachi sent the letter. Holy shit. Why is he writing to us? Why would he write to the person who put him away? Let's listen.
I'm sure you're surprised to get this letter out of the blue. I'm writing this because there's something I need to tell you.
Please go on.
Ever since I made it out alive, there are some things I understand now. It's true that my game's over. As you all insisted at the time, I'll abide by the rules of this world.
Nice to
But as
know.
long as I'm in stir here, I can't clean up after myself.
Okay.
So I hope this will give you something to think about regarding this case. There's still this feeling I can't shake. It's about how
I love the voice acting here. It's really fucking good. From Adachi's voice actor.
Now I remember, someone told me about it when I first came to town, before I heard the rumors at the station. And I was intrigued when I noticed that something similar was written on Namatame's reports as well.
Someone told him about it first, but
remember
who
who it was
was
that told
it?
me.
Who?
Since Namatame and I both gained our power after coming to Inaba, I have a feeling that has something to do with it. I
Okay.
don't know if any of this will be useful or not, but I hope it can help somehow.
Ah, he's nice. In the end, there's still more. What else?
When I'm here, I think of Dojima-san, Nanako-chan, and you. A lot.
Okay.
My time with you didn't seem like much fun before. It's strange.
Alright. I just love this
Despite it
letter.
all,
It's so
I'm
good.
Grateful to you. Thank you. But let me just say this.
What?
You're a dumbass.
Fuck you.
You
Asshole.
take the path you choose, and I'll think about what that means to me too. I doubt I'll ever see you again, but stay healthy. Goodbye.
I think, and this is where Adachi's social link maxes out. The last time we're going to hear from Adachi. But yeah, basically the point I think he's making with the dumbass comment is that I think Magatsu Izanagi, yes, that is one of the main ones that you need in order to get your ultimate persona unlocked. But anyway, Magatsu Izanagi, the Tempter of the Void. That sounds so badass. Who did we learn about the Midnight Channel from?
It's not very helpful to know that he can't remember
It's a good point,
who it was.
and that's going to be coming to. That's a really important
I'm
point
not sure
that we're
how
going
to
to find
put
out
it,
about
but I kinda know
by the
the
end of this
feeling.
part. But I think, like I say,
I don't know how
I
to
think
say
what he
this.
meant by the
Like something's connecting all these
like
things.
the
Something
dumbass
beyond what we
part.
can see. That word,
I think that he
the
kind of
Midnight Channel, the ability to enter TVs.
the best way I can put it is
They
that he
feel
sees
like
us as a bit
separate things.
ideological and
First
naive.
the rumors, then the serial
to
murder, followed by us
have that
deciding to
kind of,
investigate the case. They all really were
to have that kind of
separate.
outlook
They wouldn't
of
fit
kind of
together
like
this, right? There has to be some
positivity
kind
winning
of
out, I guess.
conductor behind everything.
So I think it's just a bit. It's
So
a
you
bit.
think the person Adachi
It's
mentioned,
interesting,
the
at
one
the
who
very
told him
least.
about the Midnight Channel, is that conductor?
And I think that it does make a huge difference.
Did I strike gold again?
This happens a number of
Seriously,
times.
just something that popped into my
I love
head.
this. I love cheers.
Senpai, is there anything like
Responses.
that you can think of?
The power to enter TVs where everything about this case started. Learned about the Midnight Channel from Chie. Yeah, it's her fault. No. Someone immediately after coming to town. So that's pretty much the clue. That is pretty much the clue there.
Last year, which we succeeded in
Namatame and Adachi
but the monster we fought
encountered
last
somebody
said we did well in
when they
playing
first
our
entered
parts.
town,
Perhaps this
uh,
means Adachi and Namatame
and
were
it was
players
that
as
person
well.
who introduced them to
Could it
the
be
idea of the
that from
Midnight Channel
beginning,
and
this
probably
serial
gave
murder case
unlocked
was merely a portion of a much larger scheme? And none
sorry,
of the people who
my
were
brain's
directly
gone.
involved
Yeah,
in the
unlocked
case
their
ever
abilities.
suspected it.
So you have to
Hey,
think about it
this scheme,
all the way back to part 1.
about both
And have to think about it, and you have to
turning mankind into shadows.
try and work out
So
who was the
someone's behind
first
the scenes
person
watching us.
that
the
we
culprits.
came into contact with.
And maybe
Our
even that
the main
monster.
character came into contact with.
And he manipulated
very start of the
Adachi and
game.
Namatame at the very beginning, so everything would come together
This pretty
perfectly.
much. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to say
Let's
who it
go
is,
out into
but
town.
it
We
does
might
narrow it
find
down
something.
to basically 2
Although,
people.
You may be the only one capable of noticing it.
So that's interesting.
Please contact the rest of us should you come across anything.
Okay.
Say our goodbyes tomorrow with this hanging over our heads? Let's go figure this
So
out.
yeah, pretty much what we're doing now is we're going to have to go off and go through town and try and interview people. Go talk to people, and you'll try and find out and try in a ploy to try and remember who you came into contact with first when you entered town. So the first person to talk to is Dojima. I want to talk to you.
The day you first came to town? Let's see. We were the first ones to greet you, right?
That's
Did we
true.
stop somewhere on the way home? I'm pretty sure
That is
when
another
I
clue.
left home
Did
that
we stop
afternoon,
anywhere
picked you
on
up
before we
and came
left?
straight back. Now that I think back to that night, I was called back to work as soon as we got home, so I couldn't talk much.
Good point.
The very next day, those strange murders started.
Yeah, yeah. No wonder he kind of
Heck of a year,
thought
hasn't
that
it?
it might be
Hey, Big
us,
Bro,
or we might have
on
something
the
to do.
first day, didn't we stop at that place?
Which place?
The gas station. I used the bathroom
My
there.
God, we
When
stopped
I
at the
got
gas
back to the
station.
car, you were talking to the weird attendant.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
The
when
attendant.
I first met you, I remembered the gas attendant because he was weird.
All right.
Now that you mention it, I do remember that.
I
I
filled
filled
the
the
tank.
tank before we went home, huh?
And it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
That
I do remember you
throughout
told
the
me
entire
you told
game,
there.
we
I don't
actually
remember
didn't
seeing
see
much
that
before, so it's
attendant
stuck in my mind.
again,
But
did
I
we?
don't know about calling him weird.
I don't
It
think we
wasn't like
did.
he looked or acted funny.
Throughout the entire game, so that's bizarre how we see
I
him
never
when the
saw that guy
first,
again.
first part,
Was it really that
one of
the
the first
attendant
people that we
looked
meet, and
weird?
then he just disappears off the face of the
But
planet.
after you talked to him, you looked sick, Big Bro.
My, what? So after I talked to him, I felt sick.
I asked you on the way home.
Hmm.
Are you car
What
sick?
could this possibly
You
mean?
said you were okay, but that attendant, he was just a little scary for some reason.
I wonder if that's playing into the idea
I
of
didn't know
kids
about
kind
that.
of
But
young
honestly,
kids in
I'm
particular
surprised you're asking all these
tapping
questions.
into things which
I came here
other
just to
older people
reminisce.
just don't
So,
about
why are you
people.
looking for the person you met first? Is something going on with that attendant? Do you know him?
I don't know.
I see. Well, just remember that you leave tomorrow.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
what
is the
you're
cool
up to,
thing about this
but you should come
part
back
actually.
home
That it's
early.
just pretty much
There's some
like the
dark
final
clouds
boss
on the
fight
horizon.
takes place on
You might
one
get some
day.
rain soon.
Like after you've beaten, you have one day basically to beat the dungeon and take on the final boss. Yeah, go into town. So yeah, after you're talking to Dojima, you then have to go and talk to Marie, I think.
Welcome.
You go to the Velvet
How
Room
may I help you?
and you
You
get
have
this,
solved the mystery
and you
and
talk to
defected the disaster
Igor,
that
and
so
it basically
nearly
sets
fell
up
upon
another
you.
scene here.
Is there something else beyond this you need our assistance with?
Yes. There's one last thing.
Intriguing. So, is there still something that leaves you unsatisfied?
That could be like a ref.
What may
That could be a little bit of fourth wall breaking. That
Let's take a
it
look
could be
and
like
see what it
was
is
the
you might be
did actually fight the Marie fight. Not good final bosses. Oh yeah, you have to go here for. Wow, I stayed on that for a long time. That's a lot.
Ah, this is a surprise. These are shards of power, allowing one to see through to the truth of things without being swayed by hollow rumors.
Okay.
Indeed, you have come here today for a reason.
Yeah, we basically have to come here to
I
get
shall
this.
play my part as well.
So we get this thing. This is I can't remember what it's called.
Is a crystal of power which you have nurtured through your journey. An
Yeah,
orb
an orb that
that
repels
repels
fabrications.
fabrications of all sorts, dispels lies, and shines upon the truth.
Alright. You're being a bit weird. We have obtained the Orb of Sight. So yeah, you need to come to him. Need to come to here to talk to Igor and Marie, because you need the Orb of Light. Was it light? Or sight, whatever. You need the orb in order to access the last dungeon. If you don't have that, then you can't continue with the story. So,
That was my role.
okay.
But people changed. People stopped wishing for truth in life. Or maybe they just stopped paying attention.
Deep.
Eventually, the me that wanted to protect humanity and the me that wanted to fulfill humanity's wish couldn't stay as one.
There you go.
Desires of man had no bounds.
And
one day,
this is the
my
final
other
confirmation
half
of what
became its own existence,
of
much larger than myself.
what happened with
I was
Marie.
left behind,
That basically
with no power
the
over
bosses that we
memories.
fought that were inside
I
Namatame
became a
and
tiny fragment, incapable
uh,
of even
and,
clearing the fog without giving my own
Adachi,
life to do so.
as well as the being that came out of Marie, were all parts
rest,
of
You already know.
an
Without my
original
powers, I
creature,
became
an
a
original
tool,
god, I guess,
manipulated by the other me.
which,
You already know, huh?
so
The cause of it all.
we have to defeat.
The one who created the Midnight Channel and gave you
Yes.
the power to enter the TV. The real puppet master. Who tried to fill both
yeah.
worlds with
So
fog,
basically, it was
using
her
my
other
endless
half
theory.
that is the
You don't
reason
defeat her.
that all this stuff happened.
The world will
And so
never
we have
be
to find
truly
her.
Clear of that fog. Go. Follow what you believe in.
I love the voice acting here from Marie. It's
It's right
really
in front
fucking
of
good.
you.
Truth is a thing which only appears to those who have observed, considered.
So yes, that is
The end of the
pretty much
path
it. We now
shows
know.
the truth.
It's at this point now where
Continue
everything
without
starts to come
faltering.
together and everything starts to
How
sorry,
marvelous.
everything starts to
It seems that
sort
you
of
will reveal
melt
the
together at
gems
this point.
true end, one beyond
So we
all
finally find out
predictive
about
power.
Marie. We've
Now
got the
go
orb, which allows us to get into the final dungeon. All that's left now is to find the person who's done all this shit. It began raining. Of course, because it has to be climactic and epic. Tom. There you go, buddy. And he just happens to be standing out here. Isn't this where I first... Oh, is it about the part-time job? I'm sorry, we don't have an opening yet. Basically ask him, or ask her, I guess, do you know about Adachi? Speak to him again. You basically choose any of these, and you just speak to this person a bunch of times, and then eventually you get the final answer. Hey, did you miss that? Did you do anything to them? Music is playing. That means holy shit, something's going wrong. Welcome to Inaba. But that's all. Just that. What about it? What did you do to me? Did I do? Don't you remember? I met you here when you two first came to town and did the same thing to what I did to those two. I greeted you, that's all, remember? We talked for a couple of minutes. Hey, mind if I ask you something? Why all these questions? Is there something that's bothering you about the time when we first met? Who the hell are you? Who are you, bitch? Amazing. You've reached me at last. Let's drop this charade. To be quite honest, I was waiting for you to come. Adachi, Namatame, and you. It is I who awakened that power within you three, the ones who had potential. But having said that, I'm rather surprised. So yeah, it was the fucking
You really are
fuel attendant all
troublesome.
along, and he does
Not
look creepy as
only did
shit.
you defeat the two Sagiri I sent into
You-
Adachi and Namatame,
So yeah,
you even
we finally
saved that
worked
stunted
out
dwarf of a life.
who is the one who gave Adachi and Namatame the powers, and us the powers,
It's
and
such a foolish
who
thing.
created the
What
two
good is saving her life?
Sagiri monsters,
She is but rubbish.
who created the
Suitable only for
the
getting
fog
rid of that
to
pointless
fill both
fog.
worlds.
Hmm?
It's this prick.
Don't tell me she was still carrying that around.
Huh?
Oh, excuse me. I was talking about that bamboo comb you have on you.
Huh? I got it from Marie. What about it?
It seems you don't know who gave her that comb either. That
It
comb
was
is a
you,
symbol
wasn't
of
it,
the
you prick?
separation we went through.
You remember? Yes. The comb is the
How foolish.
causes
That
separation.
comb was a curse.
And what it was is
think
that
she
he
treasured it all
separated
this
this. Is it
She
he?
must
I
have
guess
been
it's she.
desperate for something
She
to cling
separated
to.
from Marie and gave her the comb
There's
as
a
a,
limit to
left
how
her with the comb as a
irresponsible
sign
you can get.
of their split. That was
And what
on
do
reflection,
you
that was
like
rather
about it? The
a
last battle wasn't enough for you.
self-important and
You certainly have the powers I was expecting.
selfish thing to say, but whatever.
I saw the potential you had within you.
You are
Your
a prick.
friends were drawn to the
I'm gonna
small
kick your
bastard in
ass.
you. That's why they're here now with their awakened powers.
Uh-oh.
Still,
It's my fault.
I didn't think
Great.
you'd make it all the way to me. Indeed, I never expected this at all. You're really something.
So yeah, you only get this option, obviously,
What?
if you
You don't remember?
go for the best
you
ending.
first
If
came
you,
to town,
you know,
I gave your power a
you know,
gentle
obviously
push.
completing the
Just
Adachi
like
social link and
this.
Marie social link and completing their dungeons. It's the only way you can do it.
Are you
So,
in high
yeah.
school? Does it surprise a city boy
Yep,
to see how
this is the
little boys
first
out here?
happened the
There's
first
so little
day,
to do,
all the way
I'm
back
sure
in
you'll
part
get bored
1.
fast.
Ah,
You'll be
how
hanging
time
out with your
flies when you.
friends or doing part-time
Well,
jobs. Speaking of
time
which,
doesn't really
why
fly.
don't
It's
you
been
be
over a
looking
year
for
and a
part-time
half of me
help
doing this
right
fucking
now?
game. But yeah,
Give it some thought, why don't you? We don't mind if you're a student.
and what happened? We shook hands. My God.
You're not
What have
the
you
only
done, you
one I
prick?
welcomed to town with a handshake greeting. I did the same for a few other outsiders like you. A handful of strangers were more than sufficient to stimulate a small place like this.
You are an
But it
asshole.
seems the stimulus was stronger than I imagined. Enough to envelop this town with fog, and later lift it. Not
Okay.
only that, you now stand before
And of
me as if
course,
your assigned
the obvious
part
thing,
wasn't
I should
enough.
point out as well here, finally, is that this person here, she was the one who
What will grasping
created
the truth
the
do for you?
Midnight Channel as
Why
well.
such greed?
Oh, everything that
I guess
that has
it's
happened is
foolish
because
nature being
of
wild.
her interference. I need to know the truth. That's a creepy design.
I am Izunami.
Izunami,
Momonosagiri.
if you remember, at the beginning of the game, not the beginning, midway point, I would guess. Yeah, when we went on the school trip to the town from Persona 3, he told the story of Izunami and I can't remember, Izunagi and Izunami,
I can no longer ignore
who,
this situation as mere foolishness.
which is a Japanese legend
This may be fate,
of
as decreed
gods that were
by the
basically
world.
split. One of them
Very well. This
said
time
that
I shall put my full
Izunami
strength
was left
against
behind, and she said she
you.
would
But in return,
basically
you must come prepared to follow through in
be
your
responsible for
futile
all deaths in the
resistance.
world, and Izunagi was the one who would stop,
I'll be waiting
who would
for you there.
repopulate the earth even with even more people than she could take. And our persona is Izunagi. So basically, it's all. So basically,
Are you alright? Who was
it's
that you were
all
just talking to? Did she
comes
just
full
disappear?
circle.
Wait, don't tell me.
So okay, we finally find out who it is. So that leaves only one course of action. One last thing for us to do.
Izanami is the conductor?
That is, we have to go into the other world one last time, and we have to take down Izunami.
The others aren't far off, so I'll call them up.
Yeah, will ya? Tell him this is really gonna close the case.
Yes.
Right. We'll defeat her and put an end to this for sure this time.
Yep, so she is
And once we're all ready, let's
the final boss fight of the entire game. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me for the next part of Persona 4 Golden, when we are going to. It's the start of the final dungeon of the game. We're going to go through the dungeon, which has a really awesome music actually, and really awesome kind of atmosphere, and we are going to take on and find and take on Izunami. So join me next time for the beginning of the final dungeon of Persona 4 Golden. See you next time.